Vietnam breathes with the rhythm of water. From mist-wrapped mountains in the north to slow, endless rivers in the south, this land is alive, shaped not by centuries, but by the eternal dance of earth and time. Morning rises through layers of fog. Light spills across terraced fields like liquid gold, touching every blade of rice and every ripple of water. Here, land and people move in one rhythm, the whisper of wind through bamboo, the steady pulse of rivers that feed the nation. Vietnam is a land in motion. Rivers drift, clouds wander, boats glide, and time itself seems to flow. The Red River nourishes the north, where ancient cities meet limestone peaks. In the center, mountains fall away to beaches where waves polish the shore smooth as glass. And far south, the Mekong Delta spreads wide, a labyrinth of canals and floating markets, alive with color and sound. Yet beneath this grace lies power. Mountains rising like sleeping giants, caves plunging into the earth, storms rolling in from the sea. Vietnam is delicate, yet unyielding, a country that bends but never breaks. From the emerald towers of Ha Long Bay to the golden terraces of Sapa, from lantern-lit Hoi An to the vast silence of Son Dien Cave, every region sings a verse in one timeless song. This is Vietnam, where time does not pass, it flows. Dawn breaks over Ha Long Bay. Mist drifts between limestone towers rising from jade waters, their silhouettes like ancient sentinels guarding a forgotten world. The sea is still, but alive. A mirror reflecting the slow dance of clouds. Boats move quietly, slicing through glassy water. Each stroke of the oar echoes softly between cliffs. Here, thousands of islands rise from the deep, each one carved by wind and time into a masterpiece of stone. Ha Long means descending dragon. Legend or not, it feels true. The bay looks born of myth, a kingdom sculpted by the breath of something ancient. The air tastes of salt and silence. Above, eagles glide effortlessly through the morning haze. In this maze of stone and sea, life adapts. Floating villages drift gently with the tide. Homes, markets, and lives anchored to nothing but water.
Children paddle small boats as naturally as walking. Fishermen cast their nets, trusting the sea that has fed generations. As sunlight pierces the mist, Ha Long reveals its color, 1,000 shades of green and living emerald beneath the rising sun. This is not just a place, it is a dream, adrift upon the sea.
Inland, the sea turns to rivers. Ninh Binh is where water and mountain embrace once more. A quiet world where limestone cliffs rise from endless rice fields, and narrow rivers carve their way through green labyrinths. Small wooden boats glide beneath arches of stone, past caves dripping with time. The sound of paddles, soft and steady, becomes the rhythm of the land. Here, water replaces road, each journey a slow passage through silence and reflection. Above, mountains rise like walls of jade. Beneath, fields stretch endlessly, a quilt of emerald rice shimmering beneath the sun. Farmers bend among the rows, their movements as gentle as the breeze. Tam Quoc, Trang An, names whispered by the river itself. It's a place that feels sacred without words, ancient without ruins. Nature's architecture stands untouched. As sunset bleeds into gold, the river glows like fire, and the world seems to hold its breath. Ninh Binh, Vietnam's inland Ha Long, is not made for speed, but for stillness, for listening, for feeling the heartbeat of the land. In Vietnam's far north, the road climbs toward the clouds. The Ha Giang Loop, a serpentine journey through jagged limestone peaks and deep valleys, where the world feels untouched by time. The air is thin and pure. Motorbikes hum along narrow paths cut into mountainsides, each turn revealing another world. Misty ridges, hanging cornfields, and villages where laughter carries through the wind. Here, mountains are not silent. They speak in echoes of waterfalls crashing in hidden gorges, of wind rushing through rice terraces that cling to impossible slopes. The road twists like a river through stone. It is both peril and poetry. A journey where earth meets sky and human endurance meets beauty beyond words. At dawn, sunlight spills across layers of mountain like a golden tide. At dusk, the peaks fade into indigo, and distant fires flicker below, homes glowing softly in the vastness of night. Giang is not just a place to see, but to feel. A road through the sky leading to the soul of Vietnam's northern wild.
At the edge of the country, where Vietnam meets China, the land erupts in thunder. Gioc Waterfall cascades down limestone cliffs in roaring sheets of silver. Its spray hanging in the air like misted rainbows. Water crashes, churns, and breathes. It is a living force, shaping rock, feeding river, cleansing the valley below. The sound is endless, a hymn sung by the mountains. Around it, the world glows with life. Green bamboo, glistening leaves, and the quiet hum of insects rising with the sun. Buffalo wade in shallow pools, unbothered by the thunder that never ceases. Gioc is more than a border. It's a bridge between worlds. On one side, Vietnam. On the other, China. Yet the water doesn't stop. It flows freely, indifferent to lines drawn by men. When sunlight strikes at noon, the entire waterfall shimmers. A curtain of diamonds falling from the sky. It feels eternal, untamed, and utterly alive. Here, boundaries dissolve, and nature reminds us the earth belongs only to itself.
High in the northern mountains, Sapa wakes beneath drifting clouds. Here, the earth is carved into waves, terraces of rice curving along the hillsides, green as emeralds in spring, gold as honey in autumn. Each terrace holds a story of hands that shaped the soil, of generations that learned to bend the mountain without breaking it. Water trickles down from one level to the next, feeding life in perfect rhythm. The air is cool, touched by fog. Villages perch on ridges where smoke rises softly from wooden roofs. Women in bright woven fabrics walk narrow paths, baskets on their backs, laughter echoing through the mist. At dawn, the valley fills with light. Clouds drift low, brushing the terraces like passing ghosts. By night, stars shimmer in the still water, turning the fields into mirrors of the sky. Sapa is a place between heaven and earth, a landscape painted by human hands, yet as natural as breath. Hugh rests beside the perfume river, a city wrapped in mist, memory, and grace. Once it was the seat of emperors, the heart of Vietnam's royal past. Today, the wind still carries the faint echo of drums and silk, of ceremonies long faded into the flow of time. Beyond moss-covered walls, the imperial city stands, solemn, weathered, and proud. Its courtyards lie beneath ancient trees, where sunlight filters through leaves like fragments of gold. Stone dragons guard gateways worn smooth by centuries of footsteps. The air holds the scent of rain and age, the perfume of history itself. Across the river, pagodas rise in reflection, their spires mirrored in the still water. Boats drift quietly downstream, their shadows gliding across the same currents that once carried royal processions. As evening falls, hue transforms. The sky burns amber, and the perfume river turns to molten glass. Lanterns flicker upon its surface, each one carrying a whisper of the past into the night. The capital hums with life. A city of sound, motion, and memory. Hanoi is not quiet.
Yet beneath the noise lies a rhythm, an eternal pulse that ties centuries together. Scooters weave like rivers through streets scented with coffee and rain. Vendors call out in the morning light. Old trees cast shadows on French balconies and ancient temples. By Hon Kiem Lake, time slows. Elderly men play chess. Women dance in the dawn light, and reflections of willow trees ripple across the water. Hanoi is history in motion. The old quarter's narrow alleys echoing with footsteps of the past. Its architecture blending east and west, chaos and calm. As night falls, lanterns glow red, and the air fills with the scent of grilled food and laughter. The city breathes, never still, never sleeping, yet always human. In Hanoi, modern life flows through ancient veins. Night descends softly over Hoi An, and with it comes light, not from the stars, but from thousands of floating lanterns drifting across the Tu Ban River. They move slowly, carried by the current, glowing in red, gold, and blue. A tide of human wishes set free upon the water. The town itself feels timeless. Narrow streets lined with yellow-walled houses lean over the cobblestones. Wooden shutters creak in the breeze. The air smells of silk, incense, and the faint sweetness of river mist. Every surface glows, reflections shimmering in puddles, lanterns swaying gently above. By day, Hoi An is a canvas of life. Tailors sewing in open doorways, boats loading fruit and flowers. The laughter of markets rising with the morning sun. But when darkness falls, it transforms. The hum of the city softens, replaced by music that seems to drift from another age. In Hoi An, time moves differently. Every flicker of flame tells a story. Every ripple carries a dream. Here, light and water are one. A slow, endless dance that turns night into poetry. Beneath the forests of central Vietnam lies a secret world. Phong Nha, a realm of darkness and wonder, where rivers vanish underground and caverns stretch beyond imagination. Entering is like stepping into the veins of the earth. The air cools, the sound of dripping water becomes your guide. Stalactites hang like frozen rain. Echoes travel for miles, swallowed by chambers vast enough to hold entire cities. Underground rivers shimmer beneath torchlight, smooth as silk, ancient as stone. In some caverns, light pierces through hidden openings, creating cathedrals of gold and shadow. Here, nature's patience is eternal. Every drop of water, every grain of sand has shaped these caverns over millions of years. Phong Nha is not a place of sight. It is a place of silence, of feeling, a world beneath worlds. Between mountain and sea lies Da Nang, a city where modern life hums beside timeless stone. The Han River cuts through its heart, reflecting bridges that glow like ribbons of fire in the night. Above it all, the Marble Mountains rise, 5 ancient peaks born from legend, carved by wind and waves. Each mountain hides a world within. Caves echo with the drip of water and the distant sound of the sea. Rays of sunlight pierce through openings in the rock, illuminating marble walls like stained glass. Incense curls through cool air, blending with the salt carried on the breeze. From the summits, the coastline unfolds, endless and radiant. The ocean shimmers beneath the morning sun. Fishermen cast their nets into golden surf, and the world feels both vast and intimate. As night falls, Da Nang glows again. The city's lights reflecting in the calm of the river, mirroring the stars above. Da Nang is a meeting of elements, marble and ocean, mountain and light, a place where nature's strength and human spirit move together in perfect harmony. High in Vietnam's central highlands, Da Lat awakens beneath a cool veil of mist.
The air is crisp, touched with the scent of pine and blooming flowers. Here, seasons blur. Every day feels like spring. Hills roll gently into tranquil lakes that mirror the sky. Villas with faded shutters hide behind gardens of roses and hydrangeas. The streets curve and climb, wrapped in the soft hum of morning. The sound of motorbikes, distant laughter, and the whisper of wind through pine trees. Da Lat is a city built for beauty. Waterfalls tumble through forested valleys, and fields of lavender and strawberry stretch toward the horizon. Markets overflow with color, baskets of orchids, fresh coffee beans, and warm smiles. As twilight falls, the mist returns, curling between rooftops like smoke. Lights flicker across the hillsides, and reflections shimmer upon the lake's calm surface. In Da Lat, time feels slower, softer, as if the world itself pauses to breathe. It is a city not defined by stone or steel, but by serenity. A place where every sunrise feels like a beginning, and every breeze carries the promise of spring. At first light, Nha Trang awakens beneath a veil of silver mist. The South China Sea lies perfectly still, its surface turning gold as the sun rises above the horizon. Fishermen guide their round basket boats ashore, the sound of paddles echoing softly against the morning tide. Nets heavy with the night's catch glimmer like threads of glass, and gulls circle overhead, calling to the dawn. As daylight spreads, the city stirs. Palm trees line the promenade, bending toward the sea breeze. Waves roll in gentle rhythm, washing the sand clean before retreating again. Beyond the bay, green hills cradle the coastline, their reflections shimmering in the clear blue. Beneath the water, coral gardens bloom. Forests of red, orange, and violet swaying with the current. Above,
The air hums with life, sails unfurl, voices rise, laughter drifts across the surf. When evening falls, Nha Trang glows anew. The shoreline becomes a river of light, lanterns, street lamps, and reflections blending into gold. Music drifts from seaside cafes. Footsteps mingle with the sea's soft applause. Here, every sunrise begins with promise, and every sunset ends in light, the rhythm of Nha Trang's endless shore. In the far south, the Mekong River slows and divides, unraveling into 1,000 silver threads that weave across the land. This is the Mekong Delta, where water becomes life itself. Here, the river is not a boundary, but a beginning. It feeds rice fields that shimmer like mirrors beneath the sun, and villages that rise on stilts above the tide. Every dawn, boats gather in floating markets, their decks overflowing with fruit, flowers, and color. Voices call across the water, laughter mixes with the hum of engines, and the scent of mango and rain drifts through the air. The river is always moving, swelling with monsoon rains, retreating with the dry season, carving its own paths through mud and memory. Children dive from wooden piers into the warm current, their shouts echoing across the channels. As dusk falls, the delta softens. The sky turns rose and gold. The last boats drift home through reflected light. The Mekong is more than a river. It is a heartbeat, carrying food, trade, and life through the veins of Vietnam. It is the pulse of a nation, flowing endlessly toward the sea. Far beyond the mainland, where the Gulf of Thailand fades into endless blue, lies Phu Quoc, an island that seems to float between dream and horizon. At dawn, the sea is still as glass. The first light spills over palm-lined beaches, turning the sand to silver. Fishermen push their boats from shore, their silhouettes gliding across a sea the color of jade. In the distance, the hum of engines fades into the wind, leaving only the rhythm of waves against the hull. Through the day, the island glows with color. Coral reefs shimmer beneath clear water, and jungle hills rise behind the coastline, their slopes breathing with heat and birdsong. While the air tastes of sunlight and sea. But it is at sunset that Quoc reveals its magic. Lanterns flicker to life along the shore. Fishing boats drift out again, each carrying a single light that dances upon the waves. The ocean turns to molten gold, then to indigo, then to quiet. Here, night arrives gently. The sea softens, the wind slows, and the world, for a moment, seems to sleep. Vietnam, a land carved by water, lifted by mountains and bound by motion. From the northern peaks to the southern sea, everything flows. The rivers, the wind, the people, the pulse of life itself. Here, water is not just an element, it is memory, carrying the story of mountains eroded, of forests reborn, of generations who lived and listened to its song. The rice fields shimmer like mirrors of time. The deltas breathe. The oceans whisper to the clouds that drift back toward the mountains, and the cycle begins again. Vietnam does not stand still. It moves gracefully, endlessly, beautifully. As the final light fades across the land, one truth remains. In Vietnam, time does not pass. It flows through rivers, through stone, through us. And somewhere, beyond the mist and the waves, the land keeps breathing, alive with emerald rivers and timeless mountains.